Session 2: Helping Children Manage Challenging Behavior. In working with parents, one of the things they mention is that they come across a lot of challenging behavior that frustrates them and presses their buttons. When I ask them to tell me a little bit more about this, they say that the sort of behavior that frustrates them is stuff like children asking for junk food all the time, back-talking, making wrong demands, comparison with other children, not doing their homework, spending too much time on TV or screens, poor time management, laziness, lack of self-discipline, lack of respect, exam phobia, lack of confidence, and many more. Let me give you a little bit of time for you to list the challenging behavior that you come across in your parenting. So the question is, what causes challenging behavior? To understand that, let's dig a little bit deeper. Research on children shows that children's behavior comes from 3 factors. The first factor is children get easily impressed. An example of this would be if your child sees somebody riding a bike, they think to themselves, that looks cool. Just give me a bike and I will be able to ride. Or alternatively, if your teen sees somebody dressed in a particular type of clothes, they say, I would look cool in that. And they start asking you to buy those clothes for them. The second factor is children don't have self-control over their feelings until they grow up to around the age of 12 or 13. This is also called emergence of executive functions. What this means in practice is that if a child gets impressed and they want something, they find it difficult to reason within themselves why they should have it or not have it. The last factor is children have natural needs. Children naturally have need for security, variety, significance, love, need to grow, and need to contribute. If any one of these needs is not met, then they automatically want those things. So this develops into challenging behavior. Let us look at what parents do when they come across challenging behavior. The way parents handle these situations is that they start by giving some information in a form of advice to the child. So a simple example of this would be, Mark, if you carry on watching too much TV, your eyes will go bad. If that doesn't work and Mark still carries on watching TV, they will raise their voice and say, Mark, stop watching TV now. This works for a little while, but later on, they will find Mark is still watching television. So at that stage, they will punish Mark by giving him punishments such as timeout or embarrassing. They will say, Mark, I want you to go into that corner. You will stand there for 10 minutes because you should not be watching TV. That will teach you a lesson. This works for a little while, but later on, they find Mark still watching TV. At that stage, sometimes, they will compare Mark to someone else and try to embarrass him by saying, Mark, why don't you behave like your older brother? See, he studies a lot. He doesn't watch as much TV as you do. And look at the grades he's getting. Or alternatively, they will bribe Mark. If you stop watching TV now, I'll give you an ice cream. Does this work long term? No. The question is, why doesn't it work? The answer is the child's flexible brain. Let me elaborate. Your child is equipped with a flexible brain. It helps him or her learn, and it also helps him or her protect themselves. We call this the learning brain and the survival brain. When you lecture your child or criticize your child, the child feels the pain and it activates the survival brain. The child wants to relieve this pain, so it goes into what we would call a fight, flight, or freeze reaction. A simple explanation of a flight reaction is that they will start watching TV, they'll escape into screens and watch it for hours. They will spend a lot of time on social media, they might start smoking, they might start using drugs, and some children will also use sex as a mechanism to relieve themselves. The second reaction you get when children are trying to relieve their pain is fight reaction. They fight back by talking back to you or by being rude. The third reaction is called freeze reaction. They act by withdrawing because they don't want to argue with you anymore. So they'll withdraw into their own room, they will start listening to songs, they start to worry a lot. They are using so much energy in this freeze reaction that they start losing their concentration and in the process start dropping their grades at school. In worse cases, they go into depression, or they withdraw into friendships, they start spending too much time with these friends. So let us make a number of observations from this. Observation 1 is that children's challenging behavior falls into 3 categories: flight, fight, or freeze. Observation 2 is that when they are reacting, they are not learning. Tell me how many children come back to you as a parent and say, "Dad, I'm so glad you told me off today. I learned my lesson and I will never repeat this." It just does not happen. Observation 3. Research shows that firstborn children are more likely to go into flight reaction and secondborn more likely to go into fight reaction. Observation 4. Freeze reaction is risky to child development because in this state, the child will find it difficult to learn and become vulnerable to outside influences. So what can parents do? Research shows that they need to help the children learn from their challenging behavior and develop themselves to handle life. In other words, learn to face the challenges of life. How can parents do this? Let me explain this by telling you a story. A father came home one day, and when he walked into his room, he saw his 4-year-old daughter, Sandy, was coloring the bed sheets in his room with dark colors using the color palette from her paint box. He could see the sheets were a big mess. What would you do if you saw your daughter doing that? Majority of parents will tell her off. What would be the outcome? She would get upset and feel you don't understand her. Luckily, he had been to our course, so he used distract and redirect method. So he said, "Sandy, that looks interesting." The daughter said, "I'm coloring this bedsheet dark because I see mom washing these sheets every 3 days and I can see she struggles. I'm painting these sheets to help her out. So when these sheets are dark color, they will not become dirty quickly and mom does not have to wash them every 3 days. So she can relax, enjoy her life and play with me." Do you feel in this state, the daughter can easily learn from her dad how to help her mother relax and in the process learn to use dad as a resource to handle her life challenge of seeing her mother tired and wanting to do something about it? This technique is called distract and redirect. Distract allows you to open up the conversation, and redirect helps you to support your child learn a lesson. So observation 5 is every challenging behavior from your child is an opportunity to teach something useful to your child. This process solves the problem and bonds the parent with their child. Looking at this from a different angle. We can also use a similar method based on research of Dr. Dan Siegel. He suggests a 4S approach, where you communicate with your child while supporting them learn from their challenging behavior. Whenever you come across challenging behavior from a child, start with the first S. Create a secure environment for the child to talk. By simply accepting that children are children, they can easily get into a mess. Then use the second S. Let the child experience that they are seen as okay by acknowledging what is going on as interesting. Then follow this with the third S. Let the child feel safe by allowing your child to discuss what's going on. And finally, use the fourth S, soothe. Soothe them by helping them come up with alternative solutions with your help. This process solves the problem and bonds you with your child. This approach can be applied to behavior of children of all ages from 0 to 18 years because children of all ages can show challenging behavior. On our course, we go through how this approach can be applied across the whole age span from 0 to 18.